Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, I got just a little simple project today I want to do. It's time, I think, that I update the memory on my main desktop computer. In the past probably 2 decades, whenever I bought a computer, I would actually just buy the parts and build it myself, just because that way you know what you're getting, you know that it's custom designed just for my needs. And you know, if there's anything wrong with it, I've got one person and one person alone to blame. Well, this computer that I have now, the one that I do all my video editing and stuff on, is the first computer, like I said, in about 2 decades that I just bought out of the box. It was just a off-the-shelf computer, and I knew at the time it was lacking a little bit on some of the key factors that you need to have a good, powerful computer for some of the stuff I do. And one of those issues is memory, or random access memory. Call it RAM sometimes. And it's a great computer if you're just doing like real simple things like looking at the internet, doing email, writing letters in a word processor. But when you're getting into more high-end things like, you know, editing videos for a vlog, or doing editing or retouching pictures for Photoshop and stuff like that, it's got limitations on that. The processor speed is decent, but the random access memory, or RAM, is a little bit on the low side. So I think it's time to update it. It's funny, the first computer I ever had 640,000 bytes of memory, and that was all I needed at the time. And now I'm complaining about a computer that has 8 billion bytes of memory. That just shows how much the computer industry has changed in the last 20 years or so. Anyway, I just opened up the computer. It looks like I have one additional slot to put an additional memory card in there. So I think I'm going to take a trip over to Best Buy and get an additional memory card. At very least, I hope to double it from 8 to 16 gigabytes. But if I can get like a 16 or a 32 gigabyte card, I wouldn't have any problem with going a little bit larger. So let's go over to Best Buy. Now, Best Buy should be like my favorite store in the world just because of the kind of stuff they sell. But unfortunately, the salesmen in here, make me kind of hate going to this place just because, they're stalking you like your meat. But anyway, that's the only option I really have right now to do it. There isn't any fries here, so I just got to man up and go in and deal with it. Alright, mission accomplished. Unfortunately, this is all I could do because there is a limit to 16 gigabytes of memory in the computer I have, so all I can do is double what I currently have. But you know what? It should be a definite improvement over the machine as it's currently configured. So let's go home and update this bad boy. Alright, so let's install this memory in this bad boy. First thing we got to do is power down the computer, which I just did. Now, interestingly enough, when I issued the power down command, the computer told me it had an update to make. So I let it make its update, and now it's powered off. So let's get going on this. So there's some considerations we need to make when we deal with our updates like this in a computer. One of the things you normally think about when you're opening up an electronic device is you want to unplug it. The exception in this case, however, is with computers. You want to actually leave it plugged in when you update the computer, because the only real high voltage is in here in the power supply. It's completely powered down in here, but by leaving it plugged into the wall, we're keeping the computer grounded. And that's an important thing to consider here, because static electricity is the worst enemy in the world of a computer. And we all know what static electricity is. On a particularly low humidity day, you walk around in rubber shoes on a wool carpet and touch something metal, you get a shock. Well, that shock can be anywhere between 5 and 25,000 volts. And when you're dealing with electronic components that are designed to operate with 5 or 12 volts, you hit it with a static discharge and you can fry it. Now, normally when I would be doing this, I would have a little thing that would strap onto my wrist and clamp onto the side of the case here, just to make sure that I remain electrically discharged. I'm just going to have to be very careful because I do have one of those, but it's in the storage locker somewhere and I'm not exactly sure where it is. So I'm just going to get around the issue by only working with one hand and keeping the rest of the other hand on the metal casing of the computer. This will keep me and the computer with the same electrical potential difference and eliminate the risk of any kind of a static discharge that could damage something. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace this thing right here. This is a memory chip. Now in old computers I've had, you could just, I have an extra slot there right next to it, and I could just put a second chip on there. But apparently with this computer, you have to have matched chips. So even though the chip that's in there is 8 gigabytes, I'm actually going to be replacing it with 2 brand new 8 gigabyte chips. So I'm going to remove the old chip and replace it with the 2 new ones. Alright, so I can focus on doing the work here and not have to worry about balancing a camera too. I just put the camera on a tripod so you can kind of watch what's going on. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unclip the memory chips, and so I'm just going to pull these little tabs on both sides out. And you'll notice I have my left hand right here making constant contact with the case on the computer so I don't run into any static issues. And I am just going to very carefully lift the chip out of here. Now here are the new chips that I'm going to install. And I'm just going to set this over on the side here because there isn't a lot of room. And I am going to very carefully insert a chip into each of the slots. Once again, maintaining one hand on the case the entire time to make sure I don't have any static problems. Push them both in there until it locks into place. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I figured this. Okay, abort. I thought so. They sent me the wrong chips. Because the new chip doesn't fit into the slot. So, okay, I kind of figured that. It said DDS3 on my computer screen, and these are DDS4. So, gotta go back to Best Buy. They screwed up. So I'm just so we to make sure we don't have that same problem again, I'm going to take the old chip with me so that we make sure we get the right thing. Alright, take 2. Let's try this again. I think before I even pull this out of the package, I want to line up the chip I have with the one they gave me just to make sure all the pinouts seem right. Because when I looked at it, when I compared the first set of chips to the one I pulled out of the computer, it's clearly not the same thing. The slot's in the wrong place and there's the wrong number of pins. So this is crazy because I went into Best Buy and I brought in specifically the make and model of computer I had so that they could verify that they got the right thing, and they still got it wrong. And when I looked up my computer model online on my own cell phone, it said give me the right, it told me what the right thing was, and they still screwed it up. Yeah, that's Best Buy for you. I think probably from now on when I have computer things, I'm going to actually go to a real computer store. You actually tend to get people that know what they're doing when you go to a real computer store over at Best Buy who, hey, I'm in the computer department. I know what I'm doing. 5 years ago, I didn't even know how to spell the word, and now I is an engineer. Yep, that definitely looks like the right thing now. Right number of pins, and the slot is in the right place, so hopefully this will work this time. Alright, let's try this again. Once again, one hand on the case to avoid any kind of static discharge. And we're just going to plug this into the slot. This is a lot easier if you have one of those wrist strap things, but I'll just have to deal with it. Okay, pop it in until the snap close. Do the same thing with the other one. Okay, and you always want to make sure that the snaps are snapped all the way closed because that holds the memory in place. And next thing to do is let's boot this sucker up. Actually, first thing I think I want to do is I want to get rid of some of the dust that's kind of accumulated in here. I always like, whenever I open up my computer, you know, the problem with all these fans is they tend to suck in dust over time. So it's kind of a good idea from time to time when you're in here just to kind of blow the dust out. So I think I'm going to do that before we go too much further. Yeah, just for fun, I decided to take the fan off of the CPU heatsink here. Look at all the gunk that's accumulated in here over the years. Yeah, see, this is what you kind of want to worry about, because eventually that stuff kind of all gets clogged up in there and makes a mess. So yeah, this was a good choice to do this while I was in here. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I think we're ready to button that back up again. Got all the gunk out of there. That looked horrible in there, right? Alright, in the electronics world, this is what they call the smoke check. Yeah, let's leave it to your imagination to figure out why they call it that. This is where you fire everything up the first time after you've done your work and see if any smoke comes out. And generally that beep is not a good sign. That means something's not happy. Alright, well, it looks like this is going to have to be a to be continued episode. Sometimes with things like this, you just got to consult with a bigger geek. And I found a computer repair person that's just really local here. Brought in my computer, kind of talked to him what was going on, and basically what he thinks is going on is he says sometimes computers today are very picky about the brand of memory you use. The motherboard has a list of vendors and RAM chips that will accept and ones that it won't accept, and he believes that that's what's going on here, that the brand of memory I have is just incompatible with the motherboard. So he suggests I go on to the Acer website, look up the motherboard, find out what exactly kind of chips, branded chips that it supports, and then just go to Amazon and get one of those. Unfortunately, he didn't have the particular brand that I need. The one that's in there is Kingston, so his recommendation is just go buy another Kingston chip and bring the two back to Best Buy. So I think I'll probably do that, and like I said, we'll just have to continue with this one on another day. So I hope you found this, you know, interesting or entertaining, at least halfway so, right? Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.